Here's why I stand on what Israel's doing on the Gaza Strip, killing hundreds of people, some of them innocents, as they strike back because of Hamas and others launching rockets into the country. It always devolves into a discussion of should Israel exist or not. The fact is it does exist, and Israel has nuclear weapons, so Israel's not going anywhere. But no one in the cause celeb range is complaining about 300,000 dead Arabs and Christians, Arab Christians and others in Syria, or the people being slaughtered, the moderate Muslims and Christians in Iraq right now by Western-backed ISIS. So people always, send me emails and see comments. Why aren't you covering Israel? Why are you covering it up? We have all these articles saying it's not good, talking about it, opening the phones up to talk about it. It's like a one-upman. Oh, you don't care about the AIDS issue, or you don't care about the Palestinians. Or meanwhile, the globalists are slaughtering Ukrainians, Muslims, Arabs, you name it. So yes, I do care. But my issue is, why is what Israel does the big issue and nothing else? It becomes just a cop-out. It's just easy to go, Israel did it all. And that's where I stand on this. It's much more sophisticated. You want to be critical of Netanyahu coming out 3 weeks ago and saying, we need ISIS, we need to back ISIS, because they're already backing them. I mean, I want to hear from Jews that live in Israel, because I've had some folks call in from Israel and go, yeah, we are kind of backing it in Syria. I think that's wrong. Yeah, it's wrong. I'm just against this whole reprobate system where you fund evil to attack your enemy, and then it attacks you, and then the governing class gets to take everybody's rights. That's who wins. And guess what? The governing class acts the same in Saudi Arabia and Israel and the U.S., everywhere. And it's that governing class I'm against and the tricks they use. And if you just get past Arab, Jew, German, Chinese, Mexican, American, whatever, then you can have a real debate about the tactics being used and not have it be a bunch of tribalism. Are you for the Palestinians or for the Israelis? When it's much more sophisticated than that. Derek in California, you're on the air. What's your take on this?
Yes. Shalom. I'm an Israelite in California, and I believe that the globalists are just using this war over there to bring about their new world order. Like Revelations 11:2 says the new world order will last for 42 months. And I learned all of this from Joseph Israel, that a true Israelite is someone who follows Jesus. So using this political nation over there as the chosen people gives America a reason to send money and get all the Christian support. But anyone who follows Jesus is a true Israelite, and Israelites are scattered all over the world. And Joseph Israel's music and radio show really taught me this, that these political nations are not being directed by God, and that you're an Israelite if you follow Jesus. And so Israel is really in the whole earth, and the New World Order will rise and fall and only last 42 months, according to Revelation 11:2.
All right, I'm going to jump to another caller. Very good points. Whether you believe in God, the Bible, or not, what the man is saying has a lot of bearing. There's the Nutricardi Jews, who are Orthodox and who follow the ancient. They're Hasidic, really, and they're like, hey, the Bible clearly says, the Torah says, Israel can't have a government until the Messiah comes back. So what is this government? And then it just becomes this whole debate. And then you get Christian Zionists who love the police state and love everything else. And then they just sit around going, oh, thank God Israel's about to get blown up. It means it's the end of the world. I mean, it's just craziness, man, and I'm tired of it. Let's go ahead and talk to Andrew in Minnesota. You're on the air. What's your take on all this?
Actually, my take is it's all intertwined with, the rush on our southern border mixed in with ISIS, mixed in with what's going on in Gaza. It's all a plan to just cripple and topple anything that we have tried to put forth with, letting Israel and the Palestinians have their quote-unquote ceasefire.
No, I agree. It is a globalist destabilization program worldwide. The question is, what are they planning next?
Easy, the collapse of the United States.
Yeah, I agree with you, yeah.
And, it all takes place over in the Middle East. That's what nobody's understanding is, if we put so much effort out there trying to stabilize something that's not going to get stabilized, get our nose out of it, because we're going to crush our own economy trying to help out everybody. Why do you think the rush on the southern border? We give half the money we're giving to these Islamist states to our southern border and to our northern border. We have the most prosperous continent in the world.
Exactly. But the globalists don't want prosperity because it's a rigged system. Excellent call. From the water table to our soils to the atmosphere itself, our world is becoming more and more toxic each and every day. But it's not just the air outside that's toxic. Indoor air has been shown to have 2 to 5 times higher concentrations of pollutants than even outdoor air. And most Americans spend 90% of their time inside using toxic chemicals within their homes. There are more than 42 million smokers in the United States. Well over 1,000 types of mold and mildew linked to numerous conditions. And don't forget the fact that 6 million Americans live with pets they're allergic to as well. When I began to research these statistics, it was clear to me it was time to start cleansing my lungs in order to combat the toxic environment that we cannot escape, but that we can fight back against. Made with organic and wild cultivated herbs and manufactured in the USA, the new InfoWars Life Lung Cleanse is here in a convenient spray bottle that can be brought with you throughout any toxic environment. Now available exclusively at InfoWarsLife.com or by calling toll-free 888-253-3139.
Hey, now you can watch The Alex Jones Show live as it happens at Infowars.com/show.
And I see these political elite who are incredibly soft people, like John Kerry, Obama, all of them. Hillary making statements like, I came, I saw, he died. Obama saying, I'm good at killing people. And then you see just this same spirit. I don't care if you're Obama or you're Netanyahu. And people know I don't spend all my time, going into the bashing of Israel. I'm going to your calls right now. Because people have tried to intimidate me and attack me over the years into attacking Israel all day. That's the easy cause celeb, thing to do. And I'm like, no, it's terrible what's going on in Israel and what goes on in Palestine. And it's also really terrible that you got about 20 times that being killed conservatively by al-Qaeda forces run by our government in Syria. And they're just like, shut up. You work for Israel. And I'm like, no, actually, Israel's with Saudi Arabia helping fund the groups doing this in Syria. I don't like Israel doing that. I don't like the political class being so evil they would openly fund al-Qaeda groups and then use the threat of that to take our rights. They've taken the Israeli people's rights. Using the threat of terrorism. This terrorism rubric is being used to take over society, and I know you know that. But if you just pick a side, Palestinian, Israeli, that's what the system wants you to do instead of pulling back and going, who's behind all of this? What's the big picture? Al-Qaeda took the blame for 9/11, clearly only players in it. The wrong country was attacked, Iraq. Saudi Arabia sits back, says they're bolstering their border against ISIS when they run the group. That's just rhetoric. Now, they double-cross each other, so they don't trust them either. But this is the culture and the society we now live in. And I'll say it again. It is a total, complete, manifest fraud on every front. That the war on terror is to keep us safe. The war on terror, period, is about social control. And it's not just social control so everybody's safe. That's the nanny state lie. It's social control to radically engineer society and fundamentally destroy the family, destroy justice, destroy our health, and really put us into a scientific dictatorship known as the technocracy that is designed to finally end humanity as we know it in the globalist own words. And people can say, well, that's far out, that won't happen. No, it's happening. See, that's the thing. If this was just some corruption, I would criticize it and everything, but I wouldn't risk my life fighting it. Because corruption's always been endemic to civilization. This stuff is pure satanic evil. And you've got to make a decision against it. You've got to say, I'm not going to be with this. Let's go to your phone calls. You've been holding long enough. Paul, then we'll go to Rich, Doug, Nick, Mary, and others. Paul, you're on the air. Thank you for holding. What's your take on the situation in the Middle East?
11 years, thank you. I think this Israel issue ties directly to our border. Israel's working with ISIS. We know that. The ISIS claimed to kill the Jewish kids that started all this, and now ISIS says they're not going to do anything to help the Palestinians. And at the same time, we have South American fighters in Syria. We have the head of ISIS is from Chile, and I think the same mentality of the Palestinians fighting against white Jews from Europe is the same mentality of, they want to start their mythical homeland in South America. And in South.
No. You just hit on it. It's called liberation theology. And they take real grievances, but then the Ford Foundation and Google publicly run the Palestinian groups. They ran the Arab Spring. Exactly. It's so sophisticated. How do you explain that to people?
They're getting rid of the lead, so we can't get any more. And the borders are wide open. And the South American guys that have been training with Al-Qaeda, they're coming across the border training the regular South Americans, and they want to take back their country. And we're going to have a mini Iraq right here, and we're not even seeing it.
People always ask how the U.S. could fall. We're seeing it. We're seeing the beginning of it. And again, it's such bold moves by the globalists on every front. It really signals they're going for broke. I mean, that's it. This is a whole new ball game of escalation. Great points, Paul. Rich in Pennsylvania, you're on the air.
Hey, Alex.
Hey, go ahead.
Hey, long-time listener, second-time caller. Didn't finish what I had to say last time I was on, but it was right at the end of the show. I got cut off.
That's okay. You're on now. Go ahead and talk right into your telephone.
This whole thing is, it's all a bit of sham with the Middle East, Netanyahu, all the world leaders, most of them anyways, are controlled by the banker elites and the money changers.
Exactly. That's why they're all following the same script.
Right. And what they're doing is, they turn the heat up all around us. They keep all this turmoil going on all around the world so that the fear factor, the level of fear outside of our country is far exceeds the level of fear inside our country, which allows them to turn up the temperature here and, incrementally increase the tyranny state where it creates like a feedback loop. They're going for a big feedback loop here that's going to amplify and increase it at an exasperable rate to the point where when it does all come to pieces, they'll be able to roll it out exponentially as it all collapses.
Exactly. They're always posing as the savior to the financial crisis, the border crisis, the Al-Qaeda crisis, the ISIS crisis, the Russia crisis. And as long as they can get away with not getting the blame for being behind it, they'll continue to get more power out of the crisis they created. It's very elementary. And you said it. That's it.
All right. And what I was trying to say the last time I was on was that this goes back a long way. See, the bankers knew with when they had Alexander Hamilton pushing the Constitution of the United States, they knew that there was 13 states and there were going to be a lot more, and because you could see the territories forming ahead of time, and so they saw a problem there. And so the Constitution was also a Trojan horse to bring in blanket tyranny or an authority that is above all the states, so that tyranny can go out.
Well, that's what the colonies. That's what the colonies and the states said for a decade of debate. That's why they brought in 1798 the Bill of Rights to be very clear about everything. But you're right. The lawyers did some fiddling in the Constitution, and it's not as good as the Declaration of Independence or Bill of Rights. And people seem to conflate the three as one thing. And I guess the Bill of Rights are amendments to the Constitution. But again, now the globalists want to get rid of it whole hog. Appreciate your call. Let's talk to Doug in Iowa. Doug, you're on the air. Thanks for holding.
Oh, thank you. If you look at what's going on in the Middle East, to me it's like a magician with his left hand. He's got these little rockets flying in there so that all the news is focused in on Israel. And the real thing is happening in the Ukraine, where they're sticking a fork in the Russians, trying to get them activated.
No, that's it. This could cause World War III. And I'm very sad for the Gazans getting, dying and getting bombed. And I'm sad for Israelis getting hit by rockets. But that's all anyone knows how to talk about, the liberal trendies and the rest of them. And, why aren't you going to Palestine? Koch brothers, work for Israel. The same stuff that just gives them moral authority and is made up. while we're criticizing Israel funding al-Qaeda, funding all these attacks. But we're not doing it from a hate position. We're just doing it from reality position. And then meanwhile, talk about Arabs getting killed. ISIS is just slaughtering people by the hundreds of thousands. I mean, it's incredible. And no one will talk about it. It's just amazing.
Well, I looked at Revelation 18, Mystery Babylon. At first it burns, and then it's cast into the sea. And that seems to match those new $100 bills when they fold them. You've got a high-rise with a nuclear bomb going off over it, and then it's got a tidal wave going off over it. Now, the Russians, they can set off that Vallejo tidal wave and cover the whole East Coast, and a nuclear strike on the country first would seem appropriate, according to the way things are going, and that would both fulfill the $100 bill and Revelation 18.
Well, I know they got a lot of secret messages in the money. That's admitted. It's pretty stunning when you look at it. But past all that, Secretary of Defense Cohen admitted in Army Times back in 97 that indeed they do have earthquake and tsunami weapons, and I have mainstream news saying that. I mean, there's just no telling. I mean, it's Buck Rogers, man. That's why the elites act like we don't even exist or we're roaches. We're going to skip this network break coming up so I can get to all your calls, and we'll go to the bottom of the hour. But I'd go even further, but I'll get too exhausted. I just can't do 4 or 5 hours anymore, and I want to shoot some stuff for the nightly news. Got a lot of other work to do as well, but I just hope everybody who's on the side of liberty works instead of just talking and reaches out to other people, and hope everybody in the alternative media creates more content to overtake the dinosaur media, because people shouldn't take having the internet and freedom of speech for granted anymore. I mean, it's all they're moving on every front, people. Let's go to Nick in Florida. Nick, you're on the air.
Hi, Alex. Love your show.
Thank you, brother. What's on your mind?
I got some questions. If they use social control with social media in the Middle East the way they do on Facebook in America with false prophets about just any kind of control with that over there, too, because I personally witnessed some of that.
Well, undoubtedly, globalists are always targeting religious leaders. A lot of the clergy here in this country, Catholic, Protestant, you name it, Buddhist, are on government payrolls. I mean, it's on record that a bunch of these religious leaders are on CIA payroll and that ISIS is a globalist creation. The CIA is an alien group of basically British intelligence and the globalists. They got a lot of compartmentalized people who think they fight for America inside of it. And they couldn't get them to do as much evil stuff 50, 60 years ago. They'll do anything now. Or they've got contractors that'll do it. And so, yeah, I mean, they're just playing us off against each other.
Have you heard of some of the Facebook groups that basically tell you to not listen to alternative media and, just go with your government control?
Yeah, I really don't pay attention to that, but I mean, the Pentagon is heavily involved domestically now. It used to be illegal in PSYOPs, in lies. But it isn't working. I mean, Congress has a 7% approval rating, and the military's waking up. I mean, I think when they tell military bases don't visit Infowars.com, that I don't think I know that makes them then visit Infowars.com. So these authoritarians had a big, powerful, rich country that became an empire and had a lot of great inventions and technology at their hands. But the leveraging of Western civilization towards evil, I don't think in the final equation is going to go the way they think it is. Thanks for the call, Nick. Mary in New Jersey, thanks for holding. You're on the air.
Oh, hello?
Hi.
Hi. Hi, Alex, I love your show.
Thank you.
I'm newly retired, so for years I learned a lot on Glenn Beck and all that stuff, but I really put it together recently, a few months ago, and it scared me to death but anyhow, and now I pray a lot, basically. But concerning Israel is, it was occupied by Britain and then for a long time. And then they had the Balfour Resolution in 1947, I believe. And also what was given to the people that were the Muslims, they did get their own country. They got Jordan. So it was divided up. And within a week after becoming a new country, of course, they were attacked by 7 different Muslim countries. So,
well, no, I mean, that's how Israel got the thing of the underdog and everybody's support, was because Israel continually got attacked. And again, the Palestinians try to overthrow every country they're in. They're constantly trying to overthrow Lebanon. They're constantly trying to overthrow, and I'm not demonizing, it was just a fact, Jordan. And, you know, I mean, look, David was fighting the Philistines thousands of years ago. It's the same story. You can pick a side. Both sides have their reasons. Both sides have their arguments. My issue is the Rothschilds and the British created the state of Israel as like a floating command base for the Middle East. And then they've set it up as this endless situation. And the Palestinians live in horrible squalor. You know, I feel sorry for them on many, many fronts, but they're used as a political football. You know, you notice Egypt borders Gaza, and you notice Egypt won't let them in there, but then will criticize Israel all day for not letting them in. So it's so complex, I can barely even understand it. And so I don't know how to properly explain it to people, because you can't explain it. It's a bunch of tribal weirdnesses. And the only way you'd ever unify people would be if space aliens attacked. And that's why the elite are always saying that. Plus, they don't want us unified. They want to control us. That's why they want to balkanize this country and have the foreigners not take on an Americana culture. You can say what you want about it, but owning property, being left alone, having low taxes, having a right to defend yourself, that's pretty good culture if you've been to other countries. They're getting rid of that. So, I mean, that's my main objection. And Israel's very authoritarian. You know, you can't proselytize Christianity in Israel to Jews. Israel has race-mixing laws. And so my issue is, I don't hate Israel, and I understand what's going on in Israel. But at the same time, all these Christian TV shows and stuff that just say, worship Israel, you're going to hell. My God is not Israel. And my God is not any of these countries or any of these men. My God is God. And, you know, no one wants to talk about the bad things that go on in Israel. And you got a lot of Jews in Israel that don't like it. And then, again, any mild criticism of Israel gets attacked by the Israeli lobby. And then here's the deal. I'm not against Israel, but I'm not for what a lot of things Israel does. And I'm not against the Palestinians. I'm for them, but I feel sad for them. But I also don't want to endorse a lot of the bad stuff that some of the Palestinians are involved in, because it's two different sides and there's problems with each group is what I'm getting at. And the viciousness of the pro-Palestinian crowd, not even so much the Palestinians, but the white supremacists that support them and other groups, where it's just a one-trick pony, one-issue group, is a very dishonest group of people. The anti-Israel people are just incredible liars in my experience, and just very vicious. And a lot of them are losers. They're not successful. They hate anybody that doesn't basically endorse all their bizarre worldviews. And so I just don't want anything to do with any of it, really. I mean, meanwhile, Al-Qaeda's running around slaughtering people everywhere, and when I can't force Israeli Jews to criticize their government for openly being on the Jerusalem Post saying, you know, should we work with ISIS, when they're already doing it. I mean, Israel loses any moral high ground it could have ever claimed doing that, and I'm forced to come out against Benjamin Netanyahu for stuff like that. It's just disgusting, and it shows how reprobate our churches are, our libertarian and Christians are, that people just don't have enough geopolitical understanding, Mary, to see what's happening. I mean, you say obviously you support Israel. Okay, the existence of Israel, let's say you support that. What do you think about Israel's government supporting ISIS?
I think it's bad, but I'll tell you what I think. I think Netanyahu was being blackmailed, because months ago, Kerry was over there pressuring to break up Israel. They wanted to break it up block by block. I also listened to Aaron Klein, okay?
I know, but nobody can. Israel's got 800 nuclear weapons.
Israel, 2 blocks Arabs. It was a mishmash. They were putting the pressure, the screws on to Netanyahu.
Yes, go ahead.
And I think they were. I just had the feeling like they were blackmailing, and also I wanted to, and I think they were pressuring him to conform to whatever their ideas were. Kerry was, and some of the globalists.
Well, there's no doubt that Israel is publicly endorsing ISIS now.
Not until months of pressure.
I know. Here's my issue. It's the world is so Machiavellian. What happens when everybody starts cutting corners and everybody starts saying it doesn't matter if we side with this group today and that side tomorrow? Look at how the Arabs live with that view of the enemy of my enemy is my friend. I mean, that's just not how I do things. And that's not how the West has operated until the last 100 years. And it's a form of mental illness is what I'm saying. I hear what you're talking about. I don't obsess on Israel all day because it's never going away. It's just a football issue. It's like gay marriage. It's just something they just keep going as a distraction from everything else going on in the world. But I hear you. I appreciate your call, Mary. Let's talk to Israel and Massachusetts. That's all we have time for. I'm out of time with Shelley and Karen and Brian and everybody else. Go ahead. Is Israel, I think, or is it Israeli? Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yes. Hi, Alex. I'm just gonna give you as much as I can in this short time. Number one, to be against Bibi Netanyahu does not make you anti-Israel or anti-Semitic. Netanyahu is nothing more than an elected leader. He's not the spirit of the country. He's not the Führer of Israel, despite however he may act.
Well, that's another point. People say you either support him or you don't, or you hate Israel. That's not the case. I don't support ISIS. I mean, period.
Many Israelis do not support Netanyahu, and they would gladly vote for someone else if there was anyone worth voting for.
Well, everybody's scared to run against him, right?
There's rumors. I mean, there's rumors. I don't want to get too much into it. I'll
tell you what. We'll continue the discussion tomorrow. I apologize to the callers. Interesting point, sir. I want to hear from Israel and the Middle East tomorrow, so we'll try to open the phones up tomorrow. Sorry, the other callers. Alex Jones here to break down some exciting developments in the area of research concerning supplemental iodine. It's nothing less than phenomenal. I began to get into iodine a few years ago because it was helping me and my family so much get healthy and detoxify. And I used some of the mainline iodine supplements and they upset my stomach and I had some issues with it. Until I discovered a product being developed by Dr. Group, who I was already interviewing as an expert on my radio show, and I began taking the product before he actually rolled it out. You now know it as Survival Shield True Nascent Iodine that your body can really absorb. Then, about a year ago, he said, listen, if you think this is powerful, I'm going to come out with rare earth, deep earth crystals that are incredibly powerful that no one else has as a source for their iodine from between 7,000 and 12,000 feet, literally drilled out of the ground. You put it on a hot plate and it turns into the pure gas. No one else has 99.99% pure iodine. And the results that I personally have had have been life-changing. I was over 270 pounds. And with the iodine, exercise, and better diet, I have lost now more than 50 pounds total, and I'm continuing to lose the weight. I have more energy, my libido, all this crap came out of my skin. I believe our research is conclusive. This is the best iodine out there. And I know this for a fact. Nobody else has got iodine based on these pure crystals, ladies and gentlemen. This is innovating. This is trailblazing. And the best part is it helps fund Infowars.com, the radio show, the TV show, the whole media operation promoting true libertarian ideas. For a limited time, experience the ancient power of Survival Shield X2. Take advantage of this unprecedented 30% off Super Detox special at InfoWarsLife.com.